It is 10 o'clock.
Was it Zoom too?
Meeting's called to order. This is the Gilliam County Court meeting, August 6th, 2025. We're in Condon today. We have established a quorum. All county court members are present and will now have the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome. Okay, are there any additions or revisions to the agenda? Okay, correspondence,
Sorry, I did just hand out you guys, I don't know, I talked to Chris already.
Okay.
It's a study, a report that they did and gave to the Oregon Department of Early Learning and Care. I'll send her the color copy because it's waived, but you have a black and white.
We'll put this in the meeting packet, the
Yeah.
correspondence, okay?
Yeah, I sent it to the wrong email, so it's out there floating around.
Okay.
somewhere in
All
cyber.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, correspondence, public comment. Individuals wishing to address the county court may do so at this time or at other times throughout the meeting. Speakers are asked to raise their hand, be recognized by the chair, and give name and city and limit comments to 3 minutes. We do have one person who's present who has signed up for public comment. Shelley Johnson?
No, I did not. I thought we had to sign.
Oh, no, it's okay.
No.
No problem. No problem. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment? Okay. All right, is there anyone online who would like to make public comment? Okay. The correspondence that's in the packet includes a fiscal year 25 spring special projects grant final report, Arlington Saddle Club, fiscal year 25 operational support grant final report, Condon Early Learning Center, fiscal year 25 special projects grant final report, Condon Community Food Pantry, special projects grant interim report, Arlington Public Library. And then there's a request for a letter of commitment from the Condon Early Learning Center for a grant application, and also a request for their fiscal year 26 special projects grant, amended use of that grant. So I think that particular item we can talk about because there will be action on amending the grant and then consideration on the letter. So we should include that under new business. Are you comfortable with that? Okay. And that brings us to Senior Services Department update. Sabrina Wagenaar. Is she was downstairs.
I just sent her an email.
Okay. We're gonna move on to Chamber of Commerce update. Brittany Dark now. Yes, come on up.
I'm ready.
Can get yourself settled. So you can take your time.
All right. Today what I'm presenting to you is the Gilliam County Small Business Grant Report for the last fiscal year. So 7/1/2024 to 6/30/2025. I did provide a statement or a report just this last week. Did you guys receive that? So perfect, that one and the narrative with photos. So the narrative explains that this year was a successful year. We had $315,340 in requested funds. However, that
Sorry,
could have
200.
$215,340. requested in allocations. However, that is, the request ended in April. So, we would have had additional requests had we had additional funds, but we weren't pushing it out at that point. It was, the funds were expended, so we didn't do any more. We did expend 175,000. We had a total of, 3 applications in Arlington with 2 awarded. The third application was not awarded because, there were no more funds left. Condon had 13 applications and 11 were awarded. Highlights of the applicants. I don't know how in detail you'd like me to go into this. But there, it does describe the 2 applicants that were awarded for Arlington was 7D Services LLC, which is Seth Dans out of Arlington. He's going to be a local handyman slash ranch support. And then we have Paradise Rose Chuck Wagon, which is expanding their business, including frozen entrees, spices, oils, those types of things. And then for Condon, we did award funding to the Condon Community Food Pantry, which since awarding this and having conversations with the county, we will not be awarding to nonprofits in the future. So just so you're aware of that, but that did go towards the putting them into their new space, helping pay for the freezers and refrigerators, those types of things. The next grant awardee was Summit Springs Village. They received some new IT equipment, very much needed upgrade. The next recipient in Condon was Buckeye Knives and Crafts. He was awarded some woodworking and blade crafting supply money for his expenses. The next is Omakase Tea Blends. They have received, I don't believe they've received this grant before. They've been around in the new business startup community, so I was really happy to see them apply for this to expand their business and get a new label maker, design a potential logo, and streamline some operations. Currently, what he has is just enough inventory, to supply what he does at the mezzanine, so not really fill orders. So this will take them up to the next step, which is exciting. The drive-in, a new ice cream cone. They also secured funding from other resources to help with generators and stuff like that. So it's good that they were hitting up all the other avenues. Blushing Burrow LLC fund supported signage and display upgrades for her. The Condon Elks Lodge, that's a fraternal organization, so it was decided that this is outside of the nonprofits. At least that was my understanding from our previous conversation. So they were awarded funds to help upgrade and replace aging kitchen infrastructure as well as flooring. And that project is coming along fine. It's going really well. Conaway's Coffee in Condon was also a recipient. They were awarded funds for developing an outside park area as well as obtain paint and supplies to do a seating area as well as the storage unit on the side. They've also just recently installed their reader board, which was also a part of this grant, with the thoughts that they would be able to use it for advertising and or other people who want to utilize it. So Conway's Coffee is doing great. The next award recipient in Condon was Thistle Brand LLC. This is Shania Drinkwine Wagenaar, and she has this specific portion of the grant. She applied to expand her capability to teach others. So she purchased additional tools and those types of things to be able to do community classes. And then she also received additional training. So that's something that we hope to partner with Condon Arts Council and stuff and them in the future so that she can offer these types of classes. The next recipient in Condon was USA Prime Products. He applied for a log processor. This processor is the bee's knees, man. This thing, you put a log on it, it strips it, it cuts it, it flips it, and it splits it all without having, you only have to lift the log one time and it processes the whole thing. And so he's doing that and it's going really well. Condon Main Street Property LLC, previously known as the Roundup, they were awarded a portion of funds for restaurant equipment. So once the building is habitable, they will have the funds to be able to put that in. They were also awarded the Oregon Main Street grant for their building itself. So these funds will be expended and utilized in the next 6 months or so. Does anybody have any questions regarding the recipients at this point?
These are all Gilliam County businesses?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. When they're
Okay.
LLCs,
Yeah.
you don't
Yep.
necessarily know.
Yep, they've all gone through.
Okay.
And so next, that we had talked about previously was, the reporting structure and oversight as to
Mhm.
who's awarded and what that looks like. So we've been working, the grant committee, myself, have been working with Kelly Nonprofit Consulting to develop a process and procedures as well as paperwork, the actual things that we're going to be filling out. So we've established interim and final reports for our grant applicants that have basic questions. So hopefully we'll be able to glean some more information to be able to give you in your reports as to how these funds impacted those businesses a little bit more.
Mhm.
So we'll be working at that. We also created review committee guidelines
Okay.
that looked at the SEDS list as well as the Gilliam County strategic plan, and then it also took into account the city and Arlington, city of Condon and Arlington's plans, the information that we were able to get and give to Kelly Nonprofit. So each of those questions are kind of targeted towards the plans and like, does this create more jobs? What is the historical value? All of those types of things that are in line with some of the strategic plans for everybody else. We also kind of earmarked funds for Condon, Arlington, and for emergency. Those are earmarked funds, but not necessarily tied to those. So what we're doing now is that each review period, we're saying, okay, out of Condon's chunk, how much have we already spent? Out of Arlington's chunk, how much have we already spent? So that the review committee can make better informed decisions of where to put those funds, and then keep another chunk for emergency, and regardless of what town you're in.
So just like emergency funds.
Like 75, 75, 75 was kind of like the breakdown.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think of like emergencies, what?
Oh, like if the roof caved in and, or a
Something.
flood,
foreseen.
yeah, or someone, the main business runner is out and they had to contract with someone, right? Like Summit Springs or something like that.
Mhm.
That to me would entitle an emergency. So that is kind of how we have done that. It's not in the guidelines that certain amounts is allocated to
Yeah.
Condon and certain amounts is allocated to Arlington, but it is in there that that's being weighed when decisions are being made, as how much has already been awarded. And we do intend to do more outreach and marketing to the north end of the county so that they're aware, because it's obvious that they aren't
Mhm.
maybe aware of the opportunity with only 3 applications. So I'd like to see that,
Yes, I was
triple.
gonna mention that.
So that is the goal for that. And if you guys want to see those things at any time, please let me know. We are currently, our grant review committee, we are looking for an additional person in Arlington. So if you know of anybody, but I might have somebody on the hook, so we'll see, fingers crossed. And then the final portion of the report is a request for continued support. Previous years, it was 175,000, as I said, is how much we were able to distribute. But if the county would like to invest any additional funds into the small business grant program, we'd be happy to administer that. Or, come back in April, like when we ran out last year, and request more money. I just want to know kind of what your guys' priorities are on that. And then I also wanted to kind of put a bug in your ear and see if you would be available or interested in potentially, some of the grant applications that we received last year was for roofing and or business, or like the building infrastructure itself. And so it's taking away from the opportunity for these businesses to apply for shelving and resources and staff and those types of things when they're having to apply for these larger asks. So for example, I have 6 different buildings on Main Street that all need a new roof. I have 3 quotes from out of the 6 from those businesses, all of which are between $50,000 and $70,000 to do their roofs. Some of them are, over 30 years old. And I know, for example, one of them is Two Boys, right? And if Two Boys loses their roof or can't afford to replace their roof or whatever happens, they're not in an emergent situation by any means right now, but they're a very important part to the community. So that was a request or a thought on what maybe that might look like. And not just in Condon, Arlington also has needs. Theirs are just different. So they might need facade improvements. They might need money to put a building on a lot. They might need, they might need those types of things. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there that some of these buildings, either on Main Street or main business buildings that might not be on Main Street, to continue supporting those in the underlying economic
Mhm.
support.
Okay.
So whatever that looks like, I would love to
Mhm.
understand better about what that process might look like to
Um,
request that in
so-
next year.
We had our town hall, one of the things that came up was the historic buildings on Main Street and, preserving those.
Right.
So, I think it's an idea or a concept that, maybe we should explore. Um, there's the county leadership team that we're gonna be talking about later on in the agenda, as well as the economic enhancement ordinance. No decisions will be made, but just getting the input is good to figure out what we need to do going forward to potentially maybe allocate some funds to that. Do you have any thoughts, commissioners, about that?
No, you're at the point where you're coming back to us for money. Is that?
Yes, for the
the-
small business grant, and currently it's at 175,000. And so one thought is to renew with the 175,
Mhm.
increase it if you want to for specific small business grants and create like a separate fund if you wanted to for infrastructure type things. Or if you want to put money into the small business grant, you could do that, and then we could earmark it, just like we're talking Arlington, Condon, I could earmark it for infrastructure specifically within that small business grant fund.
Mm-hmm,
So I guess that's,
right.
but yes, no, the original request is just renewed funding for the next cycle of the small business grant. Gilliam County Small Business Grant for the next year. Our next meeting to review applications is at the end of, it's like August 21st, I think it is. And we have a handful of applications ready to go.
Okay. The funding is already in the agreement that we have. I think we can go ahead and approve the existing funding for the program and then talk about later on in the agenda,
What that looks like.
what that looks like going forward for the possible infrastructure portion. What do you think? Okay,
Sounds good.
yeah.
Last year you guys did two disbursements, is that what you're wanting to do now, or are you wanting one full disbursement?
If one full would be fine with me, it'd be easier. And
Okay.
then, but
Yeah.
I think you had done two previously so that you would make sure you got a report after 6 months. I'm not sure if that was the intent.
Well, it seems.
But
to
it's
me like
fine.
I remember
Initially, I think.
that they used all the grants, so then we
Right.
forwarded some money for the next. Because we were like, why should we wait to?
Yeah. Yeah, so that, I guess that would just be
Yeah.
a question, Gordon, do you want to do a 6-month thing, or do you just, since you already have this agreement with them?
All at once would be preferred, if that's okay.
I think we're a few years down the road now and we see how it's working. I have no problem with providing the full amount. Do you?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And then any other questions regarding the Gilliam County Small Business Grant?
No.
No? Okay, the other portion that you do not have any materials for is the Second Stories Initiative.
Yes.
And so we do have, one of them decided to back out and no longer would like to participate due to mostly contractors. That it's too difficult to get people to come out, those types of things. We're running into the same thing with the other person. But he's planning to come out in the next month or so, and then I'm going to contact the other contractors that I have and pretty much just bring everybody together and say, okay, how do we get this done? How do we, move this pendulum forward? And whichever people, if it's a small contractor, maybe they can do the floor, they can do the clean out. If it's a larger contractor, they can plan on the next thing and really just try to get these people together to accomplish this next phase. So the one that's no longer moving forward was in the amount of $100,000. So the request for guidance that I have from you is, can I approach another small business in downtown that has second story needs? And see what that is and see if we can't utilize that other 100,000 in planning and or execution of that property instead.
Yes,
Would that be
With the same guidelines, I guess, though.
Yeah.
Being for
the second stories and
personal residence. I guess.
right,
right.
yeah,
It would have to be under the same agreement.
right,
Are there any thoughts on that?
Cause they're rentals, right?
yes,
They have to be, yeah, they can't be short-term rentals. I think they have to be longer
like 5 years.
and they have to be
Yeah.
rentals for 5 years.
Mhm. Right.
And I haven't
Can I ask
approached,
which one backed out?
City Flat,
Oh, above the M&A building.
yeah.
Okay,
And so, like I said, I think it's more about timing and not necessarily that she didn't want to do it. It was just, trying to get everything done and stuff. So,
okay,
yeah, might be something that she'd be game for in the future. So
okay,
she told me to keep her in the loop.
okay. For your question about the other property,
Hmm.
I think you can go ahead and do that outreach.
Okay, yeah, because I haven't
see
even
where we
outreached
go.
to see if that
Mhm.
person is interested or
Yes.
or what their plans are. So I
Yeah.
wanted to check with you guys first.
Mhm.
But and then we will have a request for reimbursement for the other property here in the next month or so. He's going to be pulling together some receipts because he does have some expenditures that he's already done. So any other
Mhm.
questions for the second stories?
Just, I was gonna blurt out there that September 15th we open, so if they needed more than that 100,000, I think it would be, they could apply, right? If they
Yes.
thought
Mhm.
That second story.
Right.
There, but it's- I think if
Correct.
we did another $50,000.
Yes,
In September.
I agree with
Okay.
that. One thing that I just wanted to mention, I attended, the Business Oregon meeting yesterday. It was in Pendleton and it was about, a Business Oregon strategic plan, modernizing their incentive programs, whether that be incentives for wind energy or solar or those types of SIP agreements, as well as some of the other programs Business Oregon has. And one of the things they said is they no longer have the $75,000 grant for small businesses anymore. It's the Small Business SBSF fund. And so with those state funds not being available, it made me think about, is there something like this infrastructure situation that we can be doing to further help our small businesses?
Right.
So,
Yes,
exactly. Yes,
Perfect.
yes. Okay, thank you very
All right,
much. Do you have
thank
any
you.
questions of Brittany? Any further questions? Okay.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Okay, next on the agenda, we're gonna go back to Senior Services Department update, Sabrina Wagenaar. On up. Moved quicker than you thought?
Yeah. How is everybody?
Good
Good.
morning.
All right, so I have just a report on like the Condon and Arlington meal site. Arlington meal site, we serve approximately 50 per week. It's on Tuesdays, and then we have 2 cooks hired. Condon, we serve like 60 to 65, I would guess, on that. And then we had 2 cooks hired, and then one has taken another job, so that's put us back to 1. So I've had to go back down to cook or help out. Also, I just want to bring so that everybody kind of knows the Capco contract that we have with Capco. There was like a $6,000 less that we got this year. We haven't got like the real contract, I'm gonna say,
Mhm.
because we just got like 3
Kinda
months at a time. Yeah. So Arlington, like last year for Arlington meal site, we got 14,051.63. Condon, we got, or Arlington this year, we got 11,699.64. Condon last year, we got 15,934. And then this year, 11,888.80. So when I do the math on that, it comes out that we are short from what we've got in the past, 6,397.72. Do you guys have any questions on that?
How are you serving the community with that loss?
Gilliam County.
Okay.
So, yeah. Which it's in my budget.
Mhm.
So I have like I went through just the budget, like the cooks is budgeted at 42,000, approximately 42,000. I asked the county for 15,000 for Arlington and 20,000 for Condon.
Mhm.
So when I do like the math on that, the county contributes, well, no, sorry. So it comes to $77,450. And then with Capco's 23,588.44, then it comes down to Gilliam County pays 53, so $54,000 approximately is what Gilliam County
Mhm.
puts into the meal
Yeah.
site, which very appreciative of that. Because we couldn't do it without you guys.
Right.
So yeah. Is there any questions on that?
No.
The next thing that I help out with is the Veggie RX program. Due to like the county, like you guys went in last year and gave an extra $16,000. So then we went ahead and budgeted for that this year. So the households, so we are serving 80 households in Gilliam County, 26 in Arlington, and 54 in Condon. And then the actual people served is 173, 70 in Arlington, and 103 in Condon. When I first started helping with the program or doing the program or sending the stuff out for the program, it was very heavy on Condon people getting it. So then when the county did the 16,000, then I really pushed to get more Arlington people enrolled in it.
Mhm.
So we've got that.
So it's fresh,
It's
frozen,
the fresh, yeah,
fresh vegetables and
and
fruit
fruit, yeah.
and frozen,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah, so a family of one gets $30 in vouchers every month. And then a family of two or more gets $60 in vouchers. And then it's just good, like at Two Boys, the Produce Man, and then the Arlington grocery store. So I think what they've said, like with here, it's helped bring more produce into here for everybody
Uh-huh.
because of the vouchers. So I don't
Okay.
know if they're seeing that in Arlington yet. I'm not for sure what Arlington people are doing with that, but
Right,
but that was kind of the hope that it would help
good.
Improve
that grocery store as
That
well.
helps food security and
Yeah.
nutrition.
Nutrition, yeah.
Mhm.
And then also, I don't know that I've really met with you guys since like Christmas time. I don't know when the last time I did this, but I did the Senior for Santa, and it was the first year that we had done something like that. And what it was kind of like the giving tree, like for the kids. But we did it for seniors. And I ended up with 11 from Arlington and 26 from Condon that participated in that. And I think it went very well. I had some people that told me they didn't want anything or to do anything like that. So I went ahead and made up my own little wish list for them. And a lot of people put in on like utilities. So then they would get a credit on their utility bill and stuff. So I think it went very well.
Yeah, did.
Yeah. I mean, I think I
Thank you. It was a great idea.
Yeah. So the next one that we are going to roll out like as soon as possible is school items for kids. I had somebody reach out to me and say that there was like families in need of like clothing for their children or whatever for school type stuff. So I put together a little thing and then we're gonna kind of do it like we did the Santa for seniors. I'm hoping that I gotta go talk to Murray still, but that I can like make something, whether it's a bus or whatever. And then put like tags on it for people to take the tags, and if they want to help out these families, then we'll do that again and see.
Mhm. Good.
Because I often think that it's not just Christmas time that people need help, that
Yeah,
it's more throughout the year instead of, I said, I feel like we really concentrate on the holidays, but it's really like 12 months out of the year, so. Yeah.
everything's more expensive,
Mhm.
school clothes.
Clothes and everything,
Mhm.
yeah. And then like Medicare, I just help people like sign up and that kind of stuff. If they need help, they'll come in and we'll go through it. And then also I've had like a couple different things. Like the last one was there was an individual here in town that the water was evidently leaking or plugged whatever in their house, and so they just called Jameson's and had them shut their water off. Well, I got a phone call about it, and I'm like, okay, we're not gonna do, no, we can't do that. So I went and like helped like get it all, like her appliance or the faucets that needed to be redone. We got those done, and Jameson and Marshall got up and got it all taken care of, but it's work in progress, so. And then I guess just the last thing is kind of on, something that's always been like really heavy on my mind is like our seniors, they want to age in place, but we don't have like that option here basically. And I just always feel like if there's ways out there that we could get something figured out that even if, you know, if it was like somebody that could go in and just clean a little bit or help out, like your aging parents or
Right.
whatever. I mean, I think it's just,
Mhm.
if there was just something that we could get figured out to help out our senior population.
Right.
Do you know roughly like 10 or 30 in family? I mean,
I don't know. It
I was
just,
just, I mean,
yeah, I mean, it could be a lot.
yeah.
I mean, because I'm sure even like your mom, I mean, she's getting to the point probably where she could help, use a little help, or,
Mhm.
you know, or your mom. I mean, it's all,
Yeah.
you know, and I just think there's like a need there. And then to be able to find somebody that you can trust in people's houses
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
Because they're that vulnerable population that,
Right.
you know. And that's what I just know, like the situation that I've been dealing with a little bit. I feel like maybe if somebody would have been there to help out, things wouldn't have gotten so bad.
Have you done any research on what other counties do to?
I have
support that?
looked, but I
Okay.
haven't seen where
Okay.
maybe they've even addressed the
Okay.
issues of it.
Or there's,
Yeah,
you
because
know,
there's not really, I mean, they have like services somewhat,
Mhm.
but it's really not
right.
enough. I don't, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
or if it even really does
Yeah.
much out here. So.
I do think it's a need. I think it's a gap we may have.
Yeah. I mean, I think just like I said, just checking in with them, or if you need to get their mail or,
Mhm.
you know, whatever, so.
I'd say keep exploring that and see if you can come up
That's
with
what
a
I do.
proposal, and
Okay.
I don't know where it will land, but
Yeah,
let's keep it
exactly.
going and keep statistics on, you know, the need that you see with when people call you that we can't meet.
All right, you guys have anything else?
No, that's great.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right,
Thank you, Sabrina.
thank you.
Hey, South Gilliam County Rural Fiber Update, Jonathan Cannon, Rally Networks. Hello, Mr. Cannon. Okay, so I think we just want to know. We met once, originally, there's been a vision of rural fiber countywide. Then Rally Networks came along, and so we did apply for BEAD funding, the application is in for North Rural Gilliam County. It was a scaled down version because of federal changes. So the vision of rural fiber county-wide is what we want to talk about. And how Gilliam County can support that, but find out what are you doing in the south end of the county, and how far are those lines going, and how do we get to the homes?
Sure. I'm happy to answer
Okay.
those questions and
Say whatever else you want to say about your project.
sure, I'm happy to answer those questions and
Mhm.
go down that path. I'll do a quick introduction
Sure.
because it's been a little bit of time. We were in the firehouse, I think, when the last time I came and
Oh,
spoke
yes.
and provided some information. So if it's okay, I'll do a quick introduction and then give you some information about our project, and then we can answer whatever questions you'd
Great.
like.
Sure.
So thank you for this opportunity to be here morning, and I appreciate this. My name is Jonathan Cannon. We can go to the next slide, please. And I'm the Government Affairs Manager for Rally Networks. I cover all of our territories in all 6 states where we operate. And this is what I'm here for, is to answer your questions and be a resource to you so that you know you have a contact with our company to work with. Today, I was going to have our local technicians come with me, but they're busy doing installations and other work. But we do have Wade Brown, who lives near here and works out of the office here to do installs. And then we also have in Dufur, we have Ezekiel Eubanks, who does our installs from Clickitat County all the way down through here. So I wanted the opportunity to introduce them, but they're busy today, so I was not able to do such. We can go to the next slide, please. Rally Networks, we are a family-owned business. Garen and Deborah Bott are the owners of the business, and they purchased Oregon Telephone Corporation. I guess it's been about 3 decades ago or 2 decades ago to start their operations as telecommunications providers. And since then, they have brought on their son and son-in-laws, and who are now actively on the board and operating and managing the business. And so it remains a family-owned business, and I anticipate will continue to be such for many years. We have approximately 90 employees, and we, as I mentioned, we can go to the next slide. We operate in 6 states. We have 17 individual companies that are under Rally Networks. The one that was here was Home Telephone Company that we purchased from TDS, and is now branded Rally Networks. And we provide fiber, as well as some of our companies that we've purchased were copper networks. And I think we can all remember copper. Unfortunately, here we still have some copper in the ground. It's not all transitioned over to fiber yet. And so some of our customers are still experiencing the old copper networks. But we are in process of changing that over. We operate in 40 communities over those 6 states. And so we're pretty proud of what we do. We focus on rural America and operate in places that many companies just will not go. We can go to the next slide, please. So I think to get more directly to your questions and beyond the introductions here, Rally Networks participated in what was called the FCC ACAM program. ACAM is Alternative Connect America Cost Model. And in 2023, the FCC began phasing out ACAM and said the successor program to ACAM will be EACAM, which is Enhanced Alternative Connect America Cost Model. And they offered it across the entire state and said, everywhere you operate that you were using ACAM, you have to either accept EACAM or nothing. And so we looked at the options, and in some states we did not accept EACAM, but here in Oregon we accepted EACAM across all of our areas that we operated previously under ACAM. And so EACAM is just a funding model that helps us to be able to offset the cost of deployment in rural areas, because financially there is not a business case to necessarily build in rural areas. $100 a month or $80 a month or a $70 a month subscription, when you only have maybe 200 customers or 100 customers or even 1,000 customers, doesn't cover the cost of a $40 million build in any reasonable time frame. And so the EACAM model is what makes that possible for us to do that. So EACAM is through the FCC. It is through the Universal Service Fund. The Universal Service Fund is funded by traditional telephone company fees. There's a fee on a traditional telephone bill. It's your Universal Service Fund fee, and that fee is what funds programs like this. Currently there is a lot of work on the federal level to try to stabilize that fee, because as you can imagine, as people have fewer and fewer traditional phones, there's fewer and fewer people to provide funding into that fee. And so currently it's about 36% of phone bill is that Universal Service Fund fee. or a 36% add-on to your phone bill, is that fee. And so it's no small amount. So that is a federal effort to stabilize that funding source. And we'll see how that plays out. Every year there's a bill introduced. This year is no different.
Do you see that continuing to decline now also? I mean, seems like less and less people are,
Yes, and that's been the problem.
Yeah.
It has had a continual decline for the last number of years, and every year it just goes up a little bit. This year, unusually though, it did come down by 0.5%, and so not sure what the reasons for that were, but it did come down this year for the first time in many, many years. So, but nobody anticipates that trend will continue. Because as people leave traditional phone lines, it'll go up. Now, what could bring it down is the current legislation is looking at having, they call it big tech, your large streaming platforms, such as YouTube and Netflix and companies like that contribute to the Universal Service Fund, because a lot of those platforms are driving the demand for data across the networks and driving a lot of the cost. So that you understand, when we provide data across our network, we have to purchase pipelines across backhaul networks and across switching hubs that are located across the country. And so even, for us, it's not just the infrastructure and the maintaining the infrastructure. There is a cost for pushing data over networks and lines. And so the more we provide to our customers and our customers demand, the more cost there is to move that data across the major infrastructure. And so that streaming creates a lot of that demand. So EACAM is not connected to BEAD. BEAD was part of the Infrastructure and Jobs Act. So those are two separate programs. And are not subject to the same funding restrictions, requirements, or changes necessarily.
Okay.
Did you have a question with that? Oh,
Well, I guess it's not really relevant, but was this a grant, or was this just something that was provided?
so ACAM is a funding program
Okay,
that we've participated in. I mean, before ACAM, there was ACAM, then there was ACAM 2, and before that there was another name, and I can't remember off the top of my head. So it's a continuous funding model, and EACAM is in place for the next 15 years.
okay,
And so we will see the funding come in on a yearly basis for the next 15 years. And in turn, we have to commit to build out the area, which we can go ahead and jump to the next slide here. This is a large overview of, Gilliam County is right there at the top, but you can see all of the blue lines, except for the one around Goldendale, are some of our EACAM builds. And so you can see we accepted them in all of these areas. If we go to the next slide as well, our boundary here in Gilliam County is in the blue line, and then where there is no line, obviously it joins with the county line. And
so clarification, this is the county line, this is the
correct, the
county entirely, right?
the dark black line is the county line. And then that blue line
Right,
follows it on the western side there, and on the southern end, except for where it protrudes down into Wheeler County down there, and then it's escaping me, the county on the east here, but it protrudes into the Morrow County here on the east. I did include the school district boundary because I know that even though the broadband office said no, school districts are not our APAs, but that's what they based them on, so they really were in a way the areas for BEAD. So
was because of essentially the Condon School District.
well, EACAM was not based on the Condon School District. It was based on other boundaries that are set at the federal level based on our service area. And the BEAD program was generally based on the school district boundaries. And so I did include those boundaries in there in the really light aqua color. Because But now with this benefit of the bargain round of BEAD, obviously, that changed how you could apply for an area, which actually helped out potentially for what you were trying to accomplish in your bid. We can go on to the next slide to zoom in a little closer. So within this boundary, the AACAM requirements require us to meet, to build fiber to every broadband serviceable location within that boundary.
Can you
And
stop right there?
yes,
How do you define that?
well, it's the same definition as BEAD, so it would be
Okay.
all of the residential locations
Okay.
within the county. So
So
now-
to the door?
So it's fiber to the premise, which means it's to the, basically along the street to the property line. And
Okay.
then if a customer, if someone wants to hook up, then we hook them up
Okay.
to the fiber network. And other than unusual cases, those hookup fees, there's a $50 deposit and a $50 installation fee.
So, example, so there's let's just use the area of Mayville. I
Okay,
don't know if you're familiar, but there's a lot of intersecting roads and farmhouses in that area. How would, in your example, the fiber be extended to those intersecting roads and small farmhouses? And would there be any expense to the resident?
sure. So as we've designed out the network, then we do that based on wherever the broadband serviceable locations are, the BSLs are located. And so we obviously remain within public right of ways where possible. When necessary, we seek out private right of ways across property in order to access areas if it makes more sense than going around in a public route. And our infrastructure will be built, to the property line. And let's say you have a farmhouse.
Yeah,
And there's a road that's passing in front of the farmhouse. We would run right down that road in front of their property line. And then when the customer calls us and says, look, we'd like to hook on to your network, we'd like to have internet service, then we come out, we look at it, and we take a $50 deposit and a $50 installation fee, and then within 10 days, we run a drop from our line up their driveway, across their property, however we need to get to their house. We work with the customer on that. And so I say there are unusual circumstances, if a customer has a driveway that's more than 1,500 feet or a half mile long or a mile long, then we look at that on an individual basis. But even in those cases, sometimes we try to do it for that $50. But generally for most customers, it's that $50 fee for a deposit and $50 installation fee. And then they pay their monthly service.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
there's a couple of people here in the audience that this affects, that live in the area that I used as an example. So because they live there, maybe they want to ask. Do you?
We've asked.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
He knows, and
Okay.
I think Brooke has asked.
Okay.
too, But,
Yeah.
I don't. There's a pedestal by our mailbox, which is 6/10 of a mile away. So I'm just hoping there's a way we can work with Rowley to get it that 6/10. Whether the pedestal is moved over to where our power lines go down and it goes by wire on the power pole or not, but I'm hoping there's a way we can work that out.
Sure, Manager Garner actually asked in advance, and so having talked with my company, I mean, in your situation, they've looked at it, and my understanding is it'll be the $50.
Oh, wow.
deposit, $50
That's great.
installation fee.
that's
Um,
great.
Now, determining the best route, whether it's
Mhm.
along the poles or underground, will be the next step of that.
Right,
Generally, we prefer to go underground.
yeah,
There are reasons when we do not, and we have run into some areas where there's enough rock here already where we will not be going
Right.
underground. We're installing them aerially. We have some areas where there's some archaeological sites that we're working with the
Mhm.
state to avoid. And so in those areas, we've actually moved to some aerial builds. And so we prefer underground, but
Okay.
there are times when we go aerial.
Are there ways, are you marketing, how are you disseminating information to the public about this accessibility? And when, well, let me start there.
Sure. Well, maybe before I
Okay.
answer that,
Okay.
let me answer another question that
Mhm.
you might have. And then that'll lead into that,
Okay.
if that's okay. So, we'll jump here. So our construction crews have been out and are working actively right now. We have installed approximately 85 miles of conduit and aerial fiber. And the focus over this summer and the summer is to get the conduit in the ground.
Okay,
Once the conduit's in the ground, we can blow fiber through it, but our focus has been getting the conduit in the ground
right.
and any aerial installation, because as the weather rolls in this winter, the ground's either too hard or too muddy or snow
Right.
covered, and it becomes a lot more difficult. And oftentimes then we are also limited by our permits to not operate during certain times of the year.
Mhm.
To install that. So as we put that area, that's our focus this summer. We have built approximately 90% of the network between Condon and Mayville. And we are about 75% between Condon and Lone Rock.
Oh,
And so we've moved along mainly in the south or the southern part of our build area. I won't say the southern part of the county, the southern part of our build area, and we're making good headway. The total project is about 240 miles of fiber installation. And we anticipate to be completed with construction in 2027.
okay,
And we have not started connecting customers yet because it's conduit and aerial fiber
yeah,
that's up as of yet. But we anticipate that we'll start connecting customers in 2026. It could happen in the end of 2025, but I'd rather say it'll be 2026
yeah,
to be certain. So what will then happen as we get a little closer to that time frame is we use every door direct mail to send out messages to customers. We use on our website, we have pre-registration QR codes, and I've included some papers
Okay.
here that people can get to our website with. And so people can pre-register, and all that pre-registration does is it puts your name on a list so that when we are ready to start in your area, we can reach out and say, are you still interested?
mhm,
Our customer relations specialists, they're not high pressure.
mhm,
We don't
Yes.
operate that way.
right,
So
the choice.
And then we oftentimes use Facebook ads. We use other social media methods to get out. And now and then we do, usually it's in more densely populated areas. We'll hire some high school teenagers to go door to door and just hang door hangers.
Okay,
So we use a number of different methods to get that information out. And then as far as, I do not send them out often, but I do also have a sign up QR code here to where I can send out all of that signs up for an update that I send out. It's really geared towards government officials. Those go out every 6 months. Sometimes it's a year, just to say, we're waiting on permits or construction's underway, or we're going to be hooking customers up next year, so that as you get calls, you get some of that information.
Mhm.
I didn't look to see when the last one I sent out here was, but I think it's been a number of months, and it's about time to send another one. So
okay,
I had one quick question, Jonathan. So
Sure.
you were saying that your estimate was 240 miles,
Correct.
and that's in this whole area that here, right?
Correct.
Okay, and that's reaching,
That reaches all of the BSLs that are on the FCC keeps a map and data collection. It's been used for BEAD. So that reaches all of those customers that are shown.
homes.
All of those homes. Yes.
Okay,
There's a question, there's fiber to the county line? This is a question. Fiber's already to Gilliam County for you guys to tap into on the south end.
We already have fiber actually here in Condon.
So.
And so we have a network yeah, that we will expand from here. We also have some fiber in, Wheeler County. I probably shouldn't have headed down that road because I don't know if they connect or not. We do plan redundancy into our systems, and so we don't like dead end lines. We like to have loop systems, and so.
Maybe what I addressed the point was like fiber is a two Wheeler County net, how are you gonna get it to the south of the county? That makes sense, it's on the-
Mhm.
it's not-
So, right,
And we are building, and I realize it's your neighboring county, but we are currently building fiber and spray.
oh,
And so that's a little bit disconnected from you,
good to know.
but we have fiber that comes out of, Mount Vernon and John Day, Oregon,
Mhm.
and through Dayville and up to Spray, as well,
Okay,
so.
all
And
right. Brooklyn, did you have, just because you're a resident out there, while we have him here, did you have any further questions about?
I think we've talked a lot about that, I'm not shorter driveway, but like the ranch I oversee has, a mile and a half long driveway. So it'll be interesting to see once we get to that point, what it'll all
Sure.
play out to, and then the other question was just what's the vibe from the south that was.
Yeah,
I'm like way, almost the farthest one in the southwest corner, way out there.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys went out there, the.
Outlier.
that, Like, and saw, I actually got to talk to him, so we went around and drove to each of the driveways and talked about, which driveways he was gonna go down to or where they would stop at, and he actually moved my box for me because I knew I didn't want it to come up the south side of the house, I wanted it on the other side of the house. They were helpful, when I was out there.
okay,
Good, I'm
Good.
glad that was your experience. I mean, as a company, we do pride ourselves on the fact that you can contact us. It's not,
Mhm.
you can get hold of our customer service reps, that there are
Mhm.
local people, and
Right.
we try to work with our customers. Yeah, a mile and a half driveway, I don't know exactly how that will be dealt with internally, but I do know that we try our hardest to keep those fees as low as possible. To
Okay,
build, sometimes, in rural areas, it can be very difficult.
right.
On these large ranches, so.
I think we need to really keep our lines of communication open to figure out which homes end up connected and which may want to be, so that we know. And when there's change of administration, we can pass that information on
Sure,
so that they know where we're at with a master plan.
sure.
Because we are committed to making sure that we have fiber. Hopefully to most homes that are reasonable to have fiber hooked up to within financial reason.
Well, with
Mhm.
EACAM, it'll be available.
Yeah.
And, those, as I said, generally, we try to keep that standard installation fee.
Yeah,
But there are some unusual
Yeah.
circumstances just to give you an idea, it's not uncommon. A mile of fiber can run anywhere from $125,000 to $160,000
One
on
mile.
the ground. And so
Yeah,
if we run it up a driveway, that's a mile and a half long, our cost can be upwards of $200,000.
right,
And then how do you do that for the $50, but how do you make it possible for the customer?
yes,
And also satisfy the conditions of the
Exactly.
EACAM. And so we try to strike that balance. 'Cause,
right,
That
Mhm.
can be very difficult. So,
right. There may be a question.
One question, Jonathan. I'm thinking more of the west. Deepman's was like 5 months. I mean, is this something the county thinks about, is maybe some cost share?
That's what I'm thinking. If first we need to figure out the low hanging fruit. And then I think we need to figure out the hard to reach areas and see if we could maybe come up with a cost share, program. So that we can get some of those other homes connected. And then we have to make the decision, do we want to treat it like a utility? Where you're gonna have it regardless, or do we want it to make it a customer's choice? You see what I mean? Because of it being public funds, do we, as a county court, and maybe some public input, how do we want to approach that piece? So those are the things we need to talk about. With the master plan on this.
so
I mean,
Hmm?
they operate a business.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah.
business.
Mm-hmm, yeah, exactly.
so maybe,
And, yeah,
I was gonna say, maybe one thing I can do is I can go to my folks and say, of the BSLs that are part of this bill, which ones would be more than that standard installation?
Yes, that's a good place to start.
Because we may
Okay.
find that number is pretty low,
Yeah.
or they may say, you know what, we've worked it out where there are none.
Wow,
Where as long as,
yeah,
I
You
don't
don't
know the
know.
answer to that.
I think
But-
we need to do some study to get the data to figure that out. So thank you for doing that. If
Sure.
you would please do that, that would be very helpful.
Sure, I can happily do that,
Okay.
because if we're down to one or two or none, I mean, then
Wow,
that might be pretty good. So-
right,
One more question.
yes.
Is there the federal money, is there a speed that you guys have to deliver to all of the residents, so
I really,
speed requirements?
I really appreciate that question. That's a great question. The EACAM has the same requirements as BEAD. It's 100 by 20.
Okay,
However, we, as a company, for all of our new fiber networks, we only provide 100 by 20 if it's a requirement that we have to meet, because our packages begin at 250 by 250. And so we have packages that, for residential customers, that start at 250 symmetrical, 500 symmetrical, 1 gig symmetrical, and 2 gig symmetrical. The 100 by 20, there's not really much of a cost difference between the 100 by 20 and the 250 by 250. Usually those are available for the ACP requirements, or the successor programs to ACP if there is one, Lifeline. We don't generally offer a package that's that low.
mhm,
So,
okay.
yeah.
All right, is that,
Yep, thank you.
and those packages run between $79 for a 250 symmetrical and $159 for a 1 gig, 2 gig package.
yeah. Starlink's 120, right? Yeah,
Yeah, so
So-
for 120, I mean, you're looking at, I think our 1 gig package is somewhere around the 120 range.
Okay.
So that's symmetrical, that's up and down.
what about maintenance? Maintenance, I mean,
So-
somebody's fiber goes out. How
Um,
long will it take to get somebody out there to?
So we try to respond very quickly to that. Wade is our local technician that would run out and take care of that, or Ezekiel coming out of Doofer. It's hard to say how long, but generally we don't like customers to be out, because people live and breathe by their fiber connections now, and so sometimes it's a matter of half an hour, sometimes it's longer. It's
Right.
hard for me to say. We
Right.
do respond quickly. And I'll give you an example. We operate in Arkansas and Missouri and Oklahoma. We have quite a bit happening down in those 3 states,
Mhm.
where those 3 states join. And last year a tornado came through, and we were up and operating our fiber network before the power company was able to even get out. Our guys were out, within an hour of the tornado passing and being cleared. And many of them didn't have power at home. They were already, but they were out working to get people's internet restored. Now, something to keep in mind, a question did come up about freezing fog in advance of this. And, we know, I grew up in Western North Carolina. We had freezing rain, and ice builds up and it would strip the trees of limbs and knock down power lines. We have had aerial fiber here in the county for quite some time, and generally we do not have trouble with it. When we do, our technicians go out and shake the lines, and we've not experienced too many outages as far as I'm aware, because of
Okay.
the fog. We do have some provisions to take care of that.
Okay,
They stretch a little. The fiber doesn't stretch, but the lines, I shouldn't say stretch, the lines will sag quite a bit before we have
interruption.
too much trouble.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? This is a big, undertaking, and, it's been a vision for a long time. And one way or another, we want to make sure that we have that access, countywide.
Well, fortunately, in this area, it's happening, it's
Mhm.
underway,
Yeah,
and we don't anticipate that changing course in any direction.
So we'll keep in communication about those, locations
Yes,
and, figure out which ones are going to be more extensive than the $50.
yes,
Okay, that's
can do
great.
that.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions I can
No.
answer? If I
Okay.
can, I'll put in one plug.
Yeah.
Once fiber is in the ground, I would encourage everybody to use 811.
Oh.
Because fiber splicing is costly, it's very expensive,
Mhm.
and so people need to use 811.
Yeah.
I
Call before you dig.
and yes, and we,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we do, if somebody cuts a line doing construction, if a contractor's out there, doesn't call 811, is just digging away and slices a fiber line. We have fiber, drops are a couple of pair, which just means two fibers going to a house, but some of our main fiber lines are as many as 288 pairs.
Oh, wow.
And so you cut a line like that, everybody's gonna be out for a long time, while our splicers are out there
Oh,
individually connecting every
yeah.
pair, every one of those 288 pairs.
Mhm.
I was a city manager before I joined Rally Networks. I worked in Saluda, North Carolina. We had a main fiber line that came through Saluda from the eastern end of the state to the western end of the state. And we had a contractor cut it, and they were charged by that company $250,000 an hour for it being down, because it shut down Charlotte, Asheville. It shut down the equivalent of Portland, Salem, and
Oh, my gosh.
so these call before you dig. I
Yeah.
just can't.
Okay,
That's my plug.
all right,
Call 811 before you dig,
Okay.
because it can have significant impacts.
all right.
And then the other thing I'll just throw out really quickly, if I may, we have launched a new digital citizenship initiative. We are approaching libraries and schools about this. There is no charge. It's something that we find important to help kids learn how to get on the internet safely
Oh,
and to
Great.
use the internet. And so we offer it to our local governments and whoever. It's just an opportunity for us to help kids be safer on the internet and to learn how to use the internet more appropriately. So I may reach out at some point and see if there's interest here for us to provide some of the
mhm.
material. There's no cost. We're not looking to make any money on this. This is not a well, I guess you'd call it a marketing ploy, but it's not something where we're looking to make money on. We just want to help our communities be better digital citizens. So
Thank you.
thank you. I'll
So
leave.
I wonder, I don't know if Mary research online, but that might be a good resource for the library.
We would love that opportunity. It
The
includes,
library.
one of the things it includes is a parent-child contract. Where the parents say, hey,
Yeah.
you have access, and the child says, we'll be safe and we'll tell you what we're doing and how we're operating on the network. And it's that sort of
How
stuff.
do we get access to that, or how do we?
I'll leave
Right
that
there.
right
Okay,
there,
great. Thank
for
you.
y'all to grab and look at.
All right, thank you.
And then I left some other stuff here for people to use.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Arthur.
Thank you.
And anyone who wants to contact Rally Networks, we here at Gilliam County have the contact for Jonathan for anybody out there online that wants to know how this will affect them in rural South Gilliam County. We can make that link or help you get access to Rally. Thank you.
Can't believe the cost. Or mine.
Hmm? Yeah.
Can't believe the cost.
Oh, I know. It's very expensive.
Wow.
All right, we have a piece of correspondence under 3.9 that just came in yesterday from Denise Ball. And anybody who wants to read that, it's regarding the economic enhancement ordinance and some suggestions. No action, of course, will be taken today on any of the on this or the economic enhancement ordinance, just discussion. So anyone who wants to read that letter, feel free. 4.0 consent agenda. We have consider approval of strategic plan roundtable meeting minutes, consider approval of regular meeting minutes, Consider approval of bills pending review for July 2025. Consider approval of updated membership roster for local public safety coordinating council. Consider approval of agreement with Capco for operation of nutrition program. Are there any questions regarding the items on the consent agenda?
I don't have any.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, unfinished business, discussion childcare survey results. Does anybody want to start the discussion?
Getting there.
The results are in your packets and they were online. I think what we found out is centers are important to the community, as well as after-school program care, and the survey shows some data that we collected. Please feel free to look at the survey. Are there any other comments?
Oh, it's just a good attempt, I think, to gather some information. So,
Yeah. Okay,
I think that I handed out. you
Oh,
guys the-
right.
Earlier. That it was Oregon Child Care Desert 2024. And it shows all the whole state of Oregon. It was prepared for the Oregon Department of Early Learning and Care. And I think one of the interesting, I will send you guys the colored ones. so that-
color coded.
Yeah. I think it shows that we're doing the right thing in Gilliam County because we're not in the childcare desert. I think we're doing good things and moving childcare along, and it's important to have good programs because if we wanna have people that eventually might come in and work at Amazon to even consider
Right.
staying within the county and not just driving to the county to work.
Right.
So,
And I think our history's shown us too, like when Waste Management came along, they invested in the childcare center themselves so that this is just an example, in Arlington, so that they had a place for their workforce.
Yeah.
To work with the hours that dictated for their workforce.
yeah, so I think it's important for us to keep that momentum up
Yeah.
and not go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I send you, so the map is way better when it's in
Color,
color.
yeah, you'll send the
I
color.
was online, I saw the color.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a lot.
So,
better, so. And also good information.
and I think we're a model for the rest of the state, so. I mean, if you look at some of the statistics as you read through it,
Yeah.
when you get time, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
Yeah, I saw that. That was,
I think one thing that we need to remember is we all understand how important it is. All of our families here, many of the families here have had to use it, struggle through times of difficulty with childcare. Now our children are going through it. And, it's for our workforce and our quality of life. I think the common ground we need to remember is that we all care about it. We know how important it is. It's a very sensitive subject. It's an emotional subject. It involves our most precious commodity, our children. And so there's going to be a lot of emotions involved when we talk about childcare and how do we fund it. But we care, we understand, we know. And I think we all can agree on that, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, both parents are usually working
Now,
this day and
yeah,
age, so
Mhm.
too, but
right. I think about the
A
times.
lot of them
when-
have to work.
Huh? Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of them have to both work, so.
I think about the times when we were, you know, it was before you could do any outreach on the internet or, you know, it was just pretty much, who do we get to take care of our child? So you might get a call and they would say, your childcare provider says, I'm only gonna be doing this for the next 2 weeks. So I think those are examples where the centers are so important because you have a consistent place for them to go. We didn't have that in the past. So it's emerged and evolved and changed. But at the same time, options are important as well. So
Was this data gonna be used?
how's the data gonna be used?
Be what-
Well, for,
is it for
I
grants?
think one of the reasons we did the survey was because we have the $1 million, over $1 million allocation now. What are we going, you know, how are we gonna use that money? I think what we found out is centers are very important through the survey. And, we need to continue to support the centers as we can financially. I think that's something we found out. I think we also found out after school programs are important. To me, there was a lot of data on that. I think we need to continue to look at the data and absorb it and utilize it so that we can best serve the needs of the community. You know, there wasn't a lot, I didn't think, and I don't know how you feel about how you read it, a lot of, information about in-home care being, touched on a lot in the data. I didn't see a lot of that. So I think it was just a way to find out what are the citizens' needs if our public funds are gonna be invested.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments on that?
Well, I will just say, I'm pretty passionate about this because my own experience with childcare was a nightmare at
Mhm.
times. I didn't have any grandmas in town, and so it was like I hauled my kid one day in the truck for a load because my babysitter wouldn't get out of bed. Or you go and they're sick, or they're gonna be on vacation for 2 months in Michigan and during harvest. And so I just think that having a center and is super important.
Mhm.
I'm not disparaging home childcare, but it seems like they are not around for a long time. And then things come up and I mean, I literally went one day, picked up my kid on Friday and she said, I'm done today. I
It
said,
happens.
today?
Consistency.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's true. I also think that, you know, like sometimes your child is just not a good fit, so, you know, not necessarily a center or a home, but, you know, that's why options are good too. You know, it's just that it's a huge battle. And I'm glad that we're so fortunate to have some funds. There's so many counties we've dealt with that wouldn't even be able to entertain the idea of helping because they're having a hard time just taking care of the services they're providing that are mandated by the state. So, you talk about your child having to be in the truck. Jolie, for the first 2 years of her life, was on a pony. That was how she was raised. So,
well, that was only one load because he was in bottles and diapers and I said,
yeah,
strapped him into the seat and I
Yeah.
said, I told Rick, I said, that's it. I'm all in the one load and I'm going home.
yeah.
So,
Okay. All right.
so I would encourage everybody to read this report if they haven't already. It's a
Mhm.
great source and Anya will put it on the website.
Okay, good. All right, new business. Let's bring down item 3.5. Let's start with the fiscal year 26 special projects report grant, and then we'll talk about the letter of commitment. You go to 3.5. There's a letter from Haley Andrews, Condon Early Learning Center. They're applying for funding for their expansion, and it's gonna be so happy. I know you will too. When this is funded, get it funded. First, let's take it one step at a time. Let's get this funded. And then hopefully it'll be smooth sailing from there so that everything can get finished here. One of the things that they're asking is that the Ford Family Foundation asked that they increase their fundraising, community events, and individual visits to show strong community support. So what they wanted to do, and would you like to speak to this, Sarah?
Yeah.
At all, so that I'm conveying this correctly, to modify your fiscal year 25-26 special projects grant that they were already awarded to enable the fundraising event, which would have been the tuition for Todd's gala event, to be used for the expansion project instead, just to change the use of that grant.
This would be a one-time.
One time,
Yeah.
yeah,
We didn't have any applicants for a scholarship program, this last, school year.
okay,
So we kind of saw this as an opportunity to compile on top of the other fundraising events that we're ramping up on. We did a raffle just back
Mhm.
July 4th and with great success, and we have one coming up at the county fair. And so like to
Right.
show the committed funds that we will receive from this fundraiser would be amazing.
this is gonna strengthen your application,
Exactly.
yeah. I'm comfortable with that, or are you, or do you want to discuss that? Okay, we're comfortable with modifying the grant, for the tuition to Tots to the expansion project. So we can modify that.
Thanks so much.
Mhm. Okay, so then the letter of support, I see a sample letter of support. Did you have any thoughts? I'm comfortable with writing a letter of support. I would like to put my own words to it. I think you have a deadline, maybe the end of August for your grant.
For the forward one, that is, the application is due the 15th, I believe.
Okay,
So we're in the process of working on it, and getting other loans out to community businesses.
okay. You know, this is just a sample letter. I just want to make sure that these are our words and we can provide you a letter of support for that. I also have been in talks with Senator Wyden's office, and we're talking about if you're short of money, because you might get some of this, but not all of what you're applying for, if there's some possible way that we could get some money to get this done, and then we're done.
Yeah.
So I'm not making any promises, but if we're trying, that's what I can tell you. So there may be a chance they could come out and talk to you. So, I needed a ballpark number, and, if we would want to present them with a higher end. I did take the liberty of asking Jeff Schott if there was any surprises with the construction, and is 600,000 where you're at? Do you know? Or could you get us a number so that when we do talk, we don't have to go back with a higher number?
I think I actually, yeah, give me a quick, small beat, let me go, quick. I apologize.
And I don't
Is it-
expect you
is
to
it
tell me
around
right
this?
now. Later's absolutely
Okay,
fine,
perfect.
because I just sprung that on you, but, Andrew from, Senator Wyden's office indicated that they may even loop in Senator Merkley's office too.
I think in one of those letters from Haley, there was a breakdown of the funding that we're seeking. And it was around 600,000, if I'm remembering.
Oh, the email itself, okay, so we are hopeful we'll be able to raise the remaining 600,000 needed to complete the project, so if that's a firm number. And if we don't need the congressional money, that's great, it's just. You're gonna be in this situation where you're not gonna know, how everyone's gonna play into it, so.
That would be
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
To have that as a-
And I think this would be good for the community to have it funded and underway. Because that should take care of assisting with our after-school program, correct?
Yes.
And then that's going to help with your sustainability.
And alleviating the wait lists.
And alleviating the wait list and meet the community need. So, yes. So, good. And we will get you that letter. I think the way we'll do this is the letter here has all of our signatures and maybe once. If you have any thoughts about anything else you wanted to include in the letter, or if you're comfortable with the way it is, I just wanted to give it a little more thought. In our own words,
Yeah, August 11th,
and then get it out to the rest of you.
15.
Get it out to the rest of you for signature. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, because when's our next meeting then?
21st.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it'd be before the next meeting.
get something or try to
Yeah,
get
get
something
it
first
to
part
you.
next week.
Yes, and then we'll get it to you by the 15th.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm okay with
What
that.
date is the 15th? Let me look. Okay, so that's a week from Friday. Okay, all right. Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm good with it as long as it doesn't lose the meaning of what's in current.
Okay, we'll make sure you'll sign it, so it will be what you are comfortable with. Okay.
Okay, where you at?
We are 6.1, correct? Consider approval of fiscal year special projects grant extension request for Arlington Saddle Club and Gilliam County Historical Society, 6.1. Okay. There's a letter from Jim Rucker, Arlington Saddle Club. Do you want to summarize what they're asking for?
This extension request for is either like getting contractors to come out or specifically as the ironwork project. They have, I mean, the funds have already been sent to them and their materials have been purchased. It's just.
Oh, okay.
So the contract's being completed, they just don't have everything that is submitted. So they're requesting just an extension. Basically, so and then have another one as well for next week.
Okay. Yes,
That was his comment that they have done so much work there. It's nice to drive by and see the
The Saddle
gradual
Club?
changes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In that area.
it's,
Yeah. They've done a.
they've done a
job.
great job. And a lot of
And
that
they
is,
consistently came and got money and kept doing projects and
right.
so.
Way back when there was only special projects money, that's how the original arena was redone.
Yeah.
Not the original arena, the redone arena. Okay, so we have a motion to extend those.
I'll move to extend. Consider for approval the 25 special projects grant extensions request for the Arlington Saddle Club and Gilliam County Historical Society.
Okay, wait a second.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right. 6.2, discussion Gilliam County Leadership Team. The strategic roundtable meeting we had, one of the ideas that came out of that was a leadership team concept, and it seems to be gaining some traction. I think it's a good idea. There's a letter in your packet from Kaylin Lane that is, captures the spirit of what this could be. And anyone who wants to read that, I just think it's worth reading because with this agenda item, it just kind of sets up a conversation we can have. I'm writing to respectfully ask to be considered for the Gilliam County Community Leadership Team as we look forward, toward the future of our county from Arlington to Condon, Lone Rock to Rock Creek to Lone Rock to Buckhorn and all the rural corners in between. There's a powerful opportunity to strengthen the connection between our communities. This work isn't about what one town has and another doesn't. It's about how we can come together to share, support, and build a place where all feel seen, valued, and welcome, where there are choices and options, where new ideas are embraced, and there is such a strong sense of place that people want to visit and see themselves living in a community like Condon or Arlington. Stronger rural communities are shaped by collaboration, care, and the belief that we rise by lifting others. I would be honored to support this work alongside others committed to be more vibrant and resilient Gilliam County. Additionally, I'd like to recommend inviting one high school student for both Arlington and Condon to serve on the leadership team. I think that's a great idea. Centering youth voices and ensures we're planning not just for today, but for the future in mind. Thank you for your consideration. I'd be glad to talk more about this. So ideas that we may need guidance on, or ideas for collaboration, working together, moving forward, creating something positive countywide so that we can work on challenges and opportunities in a positive way. I think this is really a powerful way we can do that. Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about the concept and how we would recruit members? How we want to open it up? Do we want to do this? I guess.
I'd like to see it happen. I think it's getting more people involved and perspectives to help develop some things. I don't know how, I don't know how many we
If you
could
would
get.
do just like what Kaylin did with letters of interest,
Mhm.
people that.
Or
Advertise for
Because the
those people
problem,
who might be
even if you
interested.
go recruit people,
Mhm.
if they're interested in enough to write a letter, then maybe they'll actually attend the meetings.
So,
So,
advertise for letters of interest.
mhm.
Okay, make it fair to everyone. I think two examples are, okay, out of our town hall meeting, the one thing that came up today is the buildings. The buildings that we have that need some help with their infrastructure. That's an example. Okay, we heard what the problem is. Now, how do we implement the solution? And this is going to be a way to help us do that. That's just a small example. There's going to be a lot of things that come up. Just take COVID, for example. All the things that came into COVID that we needed to find ways to meet the community need. This might have been a good example of something that could have helped us at that time too.
Well, I think Kaylin, she brought up another good point in that roundtable that, it's coming down the pipe is, the concern for EMS and fire service
Yes.
support. And,
Right. Mhm.
It's not just here, it's everywhere in Oregon, every county.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I see us as, I don't know, advertising it, see who's interested and try to get a group together and
Mhm. Okay.
that's,
Right, and put their advertising it in the sense of. So like.
Maybe have
Or to.
It would be
have
nice.
Stephen do a small article about, what the original concept was and then ask for letters of interest and put it on our website and our page.
See what shows.
And then.
Do you, what would be the requirements of this committee? That's gonna be a question that most people probably have.
Mhm. You mean
What's the
the number
time?
of meetings?
Yeah, number
Yeah.
of meeting time commitment, are we gonna be getting emails about all the things? Is it gonna be a once a month, twice a month?
I don't think it's gonna be that often.
Once a month, what is?
Yeah, this is
kind of
new.
commitment?
It's gonna evolve as it is created. I think when we start out, I'm thinking quarterly. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that quarterly was kind of what we discussed, and maybe it's a personal preference is not to put it out to the community members. I think we're trying to build a leadership team around the positions that already exist, whether that's your superintendents, your city administrators, your council that you have here, your city councilors, your nonprofits that are making those decisions at a higher level so that your community can feel that sense of pride and that across the board at the top, we have that commonality, that connection where people will then feel more confident, I guess, in the decisions that are being made at the higher level. I don't think necessarily someone who not saying their input isn't valued, but that isn't, as a citizen, a public
Mhm.
citizen, doesn't have that intel that we're working with through the schools or through the county or through the individual
Mhm.
cities and the nonprofits. So I think the focus should be more about those leaders, the true leaders that are already in those organizations, getting out of their silos, coming together to provide not only professional but personal support to one another, breaking those boundaries between the north and the south end. Because we've heard that a lot. There's that divide there that we're trying to alleviate. And I think when people see that communication is happening at that upper level, that they have more confidence in their government or their taxing districts or their nonprofits to make those big decisions for us.
Mhm.
And it's just having those conversations. It's people just being a roundtable discussion where you can go around and talk about what you're doing, whether that's grant opportunities, challenges. I mean,
Mhm.
the positive to that is that everybody understands what it means to work in a rural community when they're already in those positions and the challenges that they're facing or, again, whether it's in their personal life or their professional life, I think that those kinds of conversations help break down those barriers.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of my thought process.
I agree with what you're saying, but I also wonder if we should. How big is this gonna be?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do know that when it comes to volunteering, it's rare to get people who do step up, so. I don't know if there would be harm in advertising it and just having a cross section of community members and leaders.
I guess my input on it, I see Brooklyn's point too, and agree with it too, but. I also, if we have somebody in the community that is really. Wants to, business sense or, I don't know, we don't know, but. I guess I don't wanna rule or isolate
Anybody out?
the community either, so.
Okay,
Cause business leaders could be just as important
Yeah.
as,
yeah,
and sometimes they're truthfully better than elected officials, so.
yeah.
It's just getting,
That's one of the things yesterday that, since this conversation came up, that was brought up is. How we incentivize, this was from the meeting, Business Oregon meeting on modernizing our incentive programs and. Grant programs and strategic plan with Business Oregon, is. We need to be careful not to incentivize things that are gonna happen on their own. So we need to remember to involve the business side of things, that if business is going to happen. Or there's gonna be growth. Sometimes the government doesn't need to step in when it's gonna happen anyway. When our economy is gonna take care of itself, so maybe that's a good. Lead into why maybe we would have. Community members, business members, a cross section and just see what we get. By advertising, but also put it out to. The other community members, the cities, the schools, the taxing districts, the nonprofits, the chamber to participate.
I have just a little
Uh-huh.
additional thing. One thing that you lose when you invite, more community interaction is you lose the collaboration that you might get amongst like cities or professionals that can move the bar forward in some conversations versus just having input, right? Like having more, like if you had more people on it that's community related, they can't really move the bar forward as much as maybe the city administrator might be able to have additional conversations and provide additional context.
Yeah.
So maybe having it, just like you guys were saying, one student from each area, maybe having one or two community members so that you can still weight it.
Yeah.
On the professional
Right.
side, but then you're still getting that input without it being too heavily weighted on the community side.
Yeah,
This is,
community, business, students, go ahead.
this is board advice. What's the end game? I'm asking the question.
Well,
I mean,
we were.
I get where you're
Mhm.
trying to go, but I don't, where.
Well, here's the thing, when, I don't know if you feel this way, but I noticed that you hear a lot of things out there. But this is the only time we hear from the public, so, it's good to find out what the barometer on. On community issues are, things we have to weigh, to help us.
Oh, I just thought, I think input from both sides is super important. But where I feel comfortable, just stepping outside my role at the center, if there's an issue that I need dealing with somewhere else, I want to know that person at the top and somebody who has connections and resources, they will handle it. Maybe it's a matter of just how those meetings are structured. It's community open, almost like town halls, and you have your leaders sitting up there. And then, of course, separate meetings to just caucus alone and figure out solutions, problem solving, et cetera,
Mhm.
but I see every side of the situation. I do agree, when you have so many more members, it can tend to just get muddled. and
Mhm.
The direction gets buried.
Right.
But I don't know, I think everybody wants it, but everybody has ideas.
Mhm.
And to voice them to a leadership team
Mhm.
who might have better connections.
Mhm.
I mean, Caitlin, for example, she can support family. I mean, that is a. good
Right,
point. I
exactly.
think that would be a great
Mhm.
thing for any.
Right. An opportunity to collaborate and communicate with a guided agenda
That's the big thing was that we didn't necessarily, or I guess when we presented or initially talked about it, that the county didn't need to be the ones to
no,
lead it. We
not
didn't need to be the ones
necessarily.
to take ownership of it. We weren't trying to come up with an end goal. I guess the end goal is community collaboration and breaking those barriers between the north and the south and creating true authentic leadership where folks can go to have conversations professionally and personally at those higher levels and just help everybody guide decisions together. It's
Mhm.
not- The court isn't gonna use that information to go out and then plan their strategic investment plan or whatever. They might use parts of it, but it's really just an opportunity for folks to get together quarterly, talk about what's going on within their realm of the county. So that across the board, maybe someone else is also experiencing that issue or a positive or wants to leapfrog off of that or join in on it. Just
Right.
breaking down the silos.
Breaking down the silos. And also, for example, if something's going on at the Condon School District that's being replicated at the Arlington School District, if they're never talking,
It's just
that's just an example, then,
something, yeah, where everyone's at the table.
yeah.
Both superintendents are at the table together, both health districts are at the table together, both senior living centers are at the table together, just to have valuable conversations
Mhm.
about what's going on in our county.
Yeah.
So that our citizens can have more faith in what we're talking about at the upper level. and
Feel well
see that we're
served.
Working together
Mhm.
across this north and south end.
Right.
We're just the greater good. I don't necessarily see that the county's trying to create something out of it. I think it was just an idea to.
Right.
Open up more lines of communication
Yes.
for people to communicate
Mhm.
with us and do things.
I'll get phone calls. Just the other day, I can use Maria and she will care as an example that we're just farm kids out here trying to better our communities.
Yeah.
We're just trying to have those conversations. Don't be nervous to call me to ask a question about your grant, or don't be nervous. I'm gonna call Sarah and Haley and have conversations with them about childcare because I know them on a personal level and I
Mhm.
show them what they're going through.
Right.
And that professionally and personally, and just breaking those barriers down so that folks are comfortable and that the 30-year-olds and the 20-year-olds want to go into public service.
Public
to work with
service.
their life.
Yes.
Also succession management, just to show folks, having those high school students in there, see what everyone's doing, not just what the county's doing, but what all of our leaders within Gilliam County are doing together to make Gilliam County a better place to live.
Absolutely. And we do need to grow new leaders
Yeah.
because it's,
100%.
yeah. Right. And I like what you said about succession planning because we want to live everywhere we are, and those things that we've touched and better than we found them or as good as we found them, so that the next people can take them over and do the job for the people that they serve. Okay, so, I think for the next meeting, we'll come up with, let's just do this, let's come up with a model and present it at the next meeting, and if you wanna, modify it at the next meeting, we can do that, but we'll come up with a structure. At the administration level, and then, see if you're comfortable with it and then approve it there. How's that sound? Okay. But this was just a discussion item, just to get the conversation going from the roundtable meeting we had. Okay.
Can I add a thought?
Uh-huh.
I know that Brooklyn had said, maybe the county's not the one who's administering it or, making the agenda and stuff, but it might be helpful if the county were to say, hey, these are some of the things that are on the forefront of our mind.
Yes.
For your next,
Mhm.
so there's like
Right.
some kind of.
Guidelines,
that are-
guardrails.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like if someone has to take.
Somebody has to be the
Somebody has to
leader.
take
that
ownership.
Yes.
I guess when we presented it wasn't necessarily the county, but if it comes to. the county.
Right. Well, let's take if you had example, EMS and fire, and there's concern about staffing that. Okay, we're ahead of the game. What are we going to do to maybe come up with some recommendations to, I'm just gonna say incentivize, EMTs to go into the training program or something like that as an example. And, I think if there were subjects like that, you would have more people attending in those areas. It just depends on the subject matter too. So, okay, sounds good. Discussion, economic enhancement ordinance, 6.3. Okay. So the last amendment to the Gilliam County Economic Enhancement Ordinance took place November 1st, 2023. Discussions about better reflecting the needs of the community. So the reason that this was brought up was, so the line item, early learning sustainability line item. There's been discussion through the budget committee, county court meetings. Should we be adding the word childcare or structuring it to say early learning and care? So that childcare is part of this too, because we represent the entirety of the county. And in Arlington, their facility is called a childcare, not an early learning center. So I just want to make sure that it's accessible to countywide, that line item will be. That's just my thoughts, just to add the word childcare to the line item or early learning and care sustainability line item. And then the other thought I had is in the definition of, so it'd be on, excuse me, on the ordinance, page 5 of 9. It talks about ages 0 to 5, extending that age because again, the Arlington childcare is over 5. So whether that be, then we could also encompass after school care as well, which you have plans to offer. So do we make that 0 to 12? Or 0 to 10? Those are the conversations I'm just trying to open up. Mhm.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, when would you feel comfortable leaving your child at home unattended? It wouldn't be 5.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but 10 to 12 and the early learning versus childcare. I believe you guys have different requirements if you're an early learning center versus a childcare, in-home childcare.
All the same. In-home childcare, yes.
Right,
Centers, no, they're the same.
right, which is what she's saying. Arlington does not have a center, so,
Yeah, they do.
well, now they do,
They
but
do, but
the
it's
other.
called the childcare. So it's just a definition so that the community understands what this is.
Everybody.
I think it's just the average citizen. Maybe I'm completely wrong
No,
on
I
this,
think I
but
just proved your point.
yeah.
I think exactly, I think I just proved your point.
Yeah, yeah.
Well-
It's just a term.
My only concern with changing the ages, and I get it, but when are the school districts gonna be able to come in and tap on these funds when they already have funds from different spots? I would hope this line item would stay with childcare and early learning centers and not. school
Going to the
districts, and not
education,
stuff. Not to, but I just have an issue with them then coming in and saying, we're offering a program when we're having trouble sustaining the centers at both ends of the county.
Well, why do we have to put that in there. I mean, I guess my feeling is, we
Oh,
wanna
ages
make
ago.
sure that we're taking care of Gilliam County childcare, whether it's a childcare there or the early learning center. It's,
Don't even
Sure.
put an age in it?
we're trying, yeah, I mean, we're trying to take
Yeah.
care of.
I would agree.
Okay.
Because it's up to us to kind of create the programming, so if we are an early learning center and childcare center that also provides after school, we fall within the category of a center-based care. So those ages would be covered,
Okay,
essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think, this is a work in progress that we're trying to solve this problem and the funding and stuff going forward. And it's like I say, I know at Arlington, the childcare was, I don't know, maybe Leah knows, closed. They didn't have one
Yeah.
for a while.
At least 6 months.
I mean, it's been like this. Yeah, I mean, so, I mean, I don't wanna put a bunch
Limit.
of, well, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think we keep it, the focus is having funds to fund
mm-hmm,
the needs that we need to do,
mm-hmm.
so.
Is there concern of prematurely changing the name before you know fully how the funds are going to be utilized / extended? That makes sense. Like, are you putting the horse before the cart? if you-
The process to do it,
If you do the ordinance change now, but
Yeah.
then get down the line, whether like, do you wanna change, wait until you get it and talk about changes?
well, I guess that's my thought is that, yeah, we know, or my feeling is like, yeah, we need to change that a little bit, the name, but the process too, like you were talking
Right.
about,
So you don't have
to
come
get it lined out, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a plan to be able to do it. Yeah, and I mean,
The only reason we brought this up now is if we're gonna talk about an amendment to the ordinance, I wanted to just have a conversation
Yeah.
first before we present something, to be sure we're on the right track of where we wanna go.
So we'll
So,
have to have 2 hearings anyway.
Yes.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
yeah, so if we had a general direction,
Personally, I think people are just getting hung up on,
I do.
I mean, I never once when we passed the last ordinance go, oh, well, this totally excludes the Arlington daycare just because it said early learning. Cause in my opinion, they're all learning at an early time in their life, so. I mean, I don't care. If we change it to early learning and care,
Okay,
I mean, it's.
yeah,
Yeah.
licensed.
Yeah.
You know,
Licensed early learning and care. Is that something we're comfortable with?
Well, I think it's, yeah, something that we're not gonna get it
What?
wrote today, I don't,
No,
Yeah.
just
the conversation.
Explained during that one meeting that they were the Condon childcare. And they
Mhm.
changed it because it made the state happier. That they had the early learning.
It was the push was to get people to realize that licensed centers are actually educators. We have teacher requirements, we have staffing requirements, we have all the same requirements as school. We could easily go back to being Condon childcare and nothing changes but the sign on the door. That's it.
right, yeah.
It's just cement.
Yeah. When we say 0 to 5 and Arlington serves a more extensive age group, that's what I'm trying to encompass so that we're not excluding them because they don't fall right in this age group. That's all. So if we took the age completely out.
Or you could even say, or until age 12 or whatever.
Mhm.
I guess the other part of that definition is to support a permanent endowment, like, is that? I guess I'm just gonna ask that question, is that what you guys are choosing to do? Like, I know there's so many discussions around that, is that?
Well, and that,
And it's a much bigger conversation.
mhm.
Still have to grant next year before you're finally deciding, but again, I feel like changing the definition and the title before we even know how those funds are gonna be expended is just a couple steps.
Right. So. That brings us to after next year. When Shepherd's Flat rolls off, what happens? I mean, I think that. And we wouldn't be opening up this part of the conversation if you weren't here, because I don't think it's fair to talk about your funding or Arlington's funding they're not here. We're gonna be talking with them next week. But historically, you've utilized the competitive grant program, and I think most of us agree there's one more year, you can apply for operational support. I think there's a feeling that this year, the $1 million+ is moving into the endowment being held. And the endowment is just an in-house account. And it's set up similarly to the homestead rebate. That's how that money was grown. And then if next year the centers applied for operational support, or whoever needs it, whether it's one or both or whatever, then you would have 2 years of that money being held. And then what? I guess I have to bounce the ball back and say, what happens then?
I think the main concern is just, I mean, we are part of the taxing district. I think it would be, our asks would be a lot lower. So I think Arlington is not dissimilar from us. I think they're gonna face the same sort of expenses and operational overhead that we do. And then you add in other folks, and it's not to say, oh, it's just us two. It's just a matter of how do we get this endowment to a place where it is self-sustainable? And the worry is even diving in when there's 2 million plus interest in SU. It's just going to be
Okay, that's
robbing
$147,000.
Peter to pay in some ways.
Mhm.
So I know I'm like, keep beating this drum. But, so now the proposed, unappropriated ending fund balance of our economic enhancement fund next year will be projected to be $12 million. And I think last year I kept saying 11 million. I don't know if budget time, we need to look into how we can start using this to help fund the childcare until that endowment has reached a point where it sustains itself, even when the SIPs go down, because, you know, Waste Management has given these funds to us to do economic enhancement.
Mhm.
And it's like we just keep rat holing it, for a lack of a better word.
Right. I hear what you're saying. I think this last year has taught us that the government is very unstable. The federal government, the state government, and that trickles down to local government. When we start losing federal money and state money, it falls on us. And I worry about the things that we provide that are mandated, that are unfunded, that if something falls apart, where would we get those funds? And that's what scares me about expending our rainy day fund. And I know what
But
you're
is
saying.
economic enhancement a rainy day fund for the
Well,
general fund?
it could be for law enforcement, because you have to have law enforcement
Yeah.
to support economic development, and that's part of the general fund. All of the services we provide, hopefully, we would never have to do that, but it makes me. That's just the way I.
Because
I feel about
realistically,
it.
we're looking at the most we've ever gave to the childcares was around 700,000 to 800,000. That was the most.
Mhm.
Historically, it's went down. They project when their center is up and fully running with the expansion that their ask will go less. That's what I was hearing.
Well, and I see this, too. I mean, I see us being able to fund, I think, what we have coming. But my concern is being able to put money towards the endowment, which if we can build it, I can see that as a good thing. And the other thing, like I say, with the SIPs coming off maybe the tax rate, maybe we're gonna be better off than we thought, but I think we have to be kind of cognizant of what's gonna happen.
Well, there
There,
has to
so.
be some value there.
I hope so, yeah.
Right?
But, yeah,
I mean, they can protest it with the Oregon Department of Revenue, but there's still.
Yeah, I mean, I just,
My question would be, how are those decisions made? Who proposes those? Like what? I provided a sheet, I don't know if I gave it to you, it's probably Sarah, that basically just shows you. the
Yeah.
Transfer we put in at 4.6%, so this first year's interest is $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
That gets added in, so you're adding up, so it's year 10 and when you're finally gonna get interest of $572,000.
Right,
And that's not touching anything out of this fund, never spending it, so what happens from year?
right, that's,
Once the competitive grant goes away, you
Mhm.
can't live off the interest because the interest is $97,000.
right.
Yeah.
That.
And-
And then if you're living off the interest and you're not putting it back in your beginning fund balance, how's your fund growing?
Yeah.
Those are the questions, I guess, is for finance that I have.
But I think my point is that this fund last year was 11 million unappropriated. This year it's 12, almost 13. This
I
is,
guess you're suggesting.
I'm
Okay.
saying that every year in this fund, we are putting away a couple $1 million out of that, because we keep growing the unappropriated funding balance.
Mm-hmm.
So then
So-
the suggestion would be to take a portion of that and just, drop that in there in the beginning.
Yeah, put a line item in here that actually is an operating fund for childcare. While this fund builds.
Just set a dollar amount to it and forecast.
Yeah.
Or just using this
Yeah.
economic transfer, not building an endowment, using that $1 million a year and the excess, like homestead rebate, the excess that is expended out of it, then goes into a fund to help interest on.
Well, I think the most we've ever did was, I don't know, you must go back and look, was 707,000. I don't think it's gonna have to be that much.
Well, then again, it must get to guys to the point of, what do you want to do with this endowment? Is it just for the Congress and just operational funds, or is it for home-based childcare?
Well,
Well, that's gonna have to be something that happens when we have the ordinance hearings and stuff, so.
right, and defining it, like you say, chicken or egg, cart before the horse. Defining it, I guess, my way of thinking is, first you have to define it. Okay, this is an economic enhancement ordinance, in order for people to work, they have to have their children taken care of until they're able to take care of themselves. So that means early learning, childcare, 0 to whatever age, which maybe we won't define. So there's your definition, and then we'd have to determine the use of the fund. And I see what you're saying. I worry about things like what almost happened in the legislative session where we almost lost road funding this year. And we have 70+ employees here that we're responsible for first, and then we can help everybody else. And that's what puts me in a position of fear when we start talking about when the SIPs roll off. Because again, Gilliam County's budget is a 3-legged stool. We have property taxes. So every year, even though we have balance, we're only bringing in this much every year. $4 million, $5 million economic enhancement, and dwindling SIP. So as of right now, and things will and probably will change in the future, that's what concerns me about taking a big chunk right now, is the instability with the federal government and the state government trickling down to the local government.
I agree, the instability with the federal government is
Mhm.
scary, especially, and I don't want this to cause panic.
Yeah.
You're fine with Head Start right now because federal contracts will be tomorrow,
Uh-huh,
but they took a large chunk out of Head Start funding federally.
did they?
They did, and with the ERDC, just the state level, they have maybe the next 2 years are covered to float the current existing users. But I think it's over 8,000 families that are waitlisted. They have no real concrete plans to get them enrolled, or nor do they have the finances. So we are looking at a potential sunset of that if nothing gets figured out.
Yeah.
So far, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just looking at the feedback from the survey, and I
Mhm.
agree, affordability, accessibility, consistency is vital. If I didn't work there and have the subsidies that I was accepting, I was enrolled into, I wouldn't be able to afford the place that I sent you to. And I think the overarching goal, in terms of sustainability with our operations, would be sustainability for our community. And we can achieve even lower pricing if we have enough money to kind of, for any center, I think, to vote the idea of achieving that goal that economists say that childcare should cost no more than 7% of a family's household median income, and we can get the number down. But it's just, we have a lot of uncertainty too.
Mm-hmm.
And a large, our asks are the way they are, including the money we receive federally and state. So I'm worried.
Yeah.
I just want to say that the hope and goal with having a very large bevy for this endowment for any center, I think, is to just really create benefits for the community and make it impactful.
Well, I think, like I say, I don't think the landfill, I don't see it going away. And like I say, some of the conversations, they see it growing more. And I think we're gonna see this grow more. It's like, I would like to see more money go to the cities. They have different needs and let them do it. But, and like I say,
You mean like let them handle the childcare?
well, no, I don't know about that, but I'm just in general, I'm looking at this, the workforce housing, and then we have an economic development line item and a business development line item. I mean, you know, I don't know if I agree. Well, I don't agree with the percentages, but I we're so lucky to have this, and I don't think this is going away, and I don't see the funding for the childcare going away. I mean, I think this is great that we can be able to do this and fund it. And if we can do an endowment with any extra funds or whatever, I think that's a great idea. But I think we still have to keep I don't want to see a reserve go away if something happens. Because we're lucky to be where we're at, and we just have to be careful. I think we can still move forward and do things, but
We talked about, and considering Commissioner Watkins' idea, another approach, there's many approaches. We could approach this, but the whole goal is to fund it. Waste management is in a good position. From what we know today, and we don't have a crystal ball, it looks good for the future. So if we have $1 million a year, and if we took half of it and put it away and made half of it available, let's just say when your expansion happens, then all you're gonna need is 200,000. I'm just throwing numbers out. 200,000 to Arlington, 200,000 to Condon, and 100,000 to the in-home care license providers. Then you're still putting away 500,000 every year to the endowment.
So the other problem though, you start talking about, don't want to get in the weeds too much, but you start talking about giving money to people that are doing daycare in their homes and they have their own private business. Are we gonna get into the issue of why don't we go help everybody that has a private business?
You could
We're
allocate
giving
to-
it
Yeah, I was
to
gonna
the
say you could
chamber.
allocate it to the small business.
Development.
grant, and
Which
then-
you've had some of those people come to you and get help with
Yeah. two
getting
of
their
them.
care starting. So
We could earmark.
I
just like-
kind of feel like we should stay out of the private business.
There ever be
no,
consideration of doing a study, that word is.
Yeah, and have somebody, a professional, help us with this.
Community focuses that, and I sent out an email to the other counties to see kind of if they had childcare funds or how they supported childcare in their regions. I only heard back from 3 counties. One of which used like 2.7 of their ARPA funds, and when I talked to that administrator, her biggest point was that they did a study. they put $70,000 away to do a study to what to do with that $2.7 million. Someone externally came in.
Okay.
You know, they're a contracting firm that reached out to the community, did, you know, their own,
Right.
went and talked to the businesses, went and talked to the
Mhm.
childcare centers, went and talked to the home daycare centers. And then came back to their county and presented
Mhm.
their findings or what they thought needed to do with it, and, I think this is a huge chunk of money, and the
It
end
is.
years is, you know, $10 to $15 million that we're trying to figure out how to expend through our community, when with our small surveys, you could see that it was like 46 and 60-some% between in-home care providers and childcare centers. We think that if you want to do childcare for all, yeah, maybe
So-
somebody, maybe someone external coming in, unbiased opinions, not.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
And you could have another, I mean, at least another year and a half before
Like-
your operational goes out and then just.
I guess my question too is, like, with what you guys have built here in Condon, I mean, is there still that many here, other in-homes that are
Yeah, there's a wait list.
operating? No, I know
Oh.
for,
One licensed and care provider.
Okay.
Condon.
yeah, cause
She's only one provider, she can't have more than a certain number of kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
Software, she had wanted to expand her space to potentially get someone else trained up so that they could have more kids. But I've also heard from other in-home people that are interested in it, it's either the funds aren't there, or they think it's a lot of work to get your license.
well, and I understand that, and I guess with this, I really wanna drive home my thoughts too, is a main facility here and one in Arlington too. That we are focused on making available and keeping them, you know, open.
Mhm.
And like I say, it's just like you say, it's like, how far do we wanna go? Right now, I don't wanna go very far, I wanna just focus on 2 facilities, I
Oh,
guess
okay.
with this is my thoughts.
Yes, because we give
Yeah.
money to some,
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
they could be a month from now, we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, definitely, I would.
Yeah.
agree with the
Yeah.
statement that,
So-
those are the decisions that I feel
Mhm.
like are just kind of floating out.
Right.
Well, it just-
It needs to be set.
Yeah, no,
If this money is gonna go to these two entities, or if you are gonna open up to be, because like at the strategic plan meeting, the Arlington School will come forward with secondary school proposals, you know, about how our college tuition for the kids in Arlington, their school there. So again, I don't, it's. what is the
Right.
community looking for.
Do we just wanna focus on the 2 centers and just, that's what we're gonna do? And then not even concern ourselves with,
I think that's my feeling, because I mean,
Okay.
it's just like,
that's fine.
I mean, I wish we could solve
Yeah,
everything,
I
but
said,
if we can solve a few
that's
things.
what I'm trying to do, solve the whole problem, and it's a huge
And it's
battle.
it's a process, I feel that we're trying to figure out how to
Okay,
keep doing it, and we're gonna have to figure out a way to
okay,
Then
how,
excluding the folks that can't go to the childcare centers or are unable to do that. How does that?
Or they work outside the childcare, but that's where it's like, it might be behoove you to set aside a certain dollar amount for that small business grant.
yeah, yeah.
For those
Uh-huh.
ones that are like,
Well, I would rather
It's
give
like-
it to you
that's what I
and
mean.
Yeah.
let you decide it
yes,
than have
Yeah.
it, that burden on
And
us.
yeah, that's what I mean, but then your focus for the county is those 2 main centers
Mhm.
that keep going, have the standard hours that you feel need to be set, because that's one of the things with some of the outliers that at home is that they're covering for those shifts that are outside of, 6
Yeah.
PM.
Right.
So we have to have them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
well, and I think,
Well, that might be the solution.
they're licensed,
Then that could be one of the requirements on the small business grant.
Yeah, so then they could apply for a small business grant.
or.
Okay.
Free incentives for your businesses to be able to.
Mhm.
provide
Yeah.
Funds for their employees, childcare. Now, like, come work for us, we're able to give you $800 a month stipend. Like, I think there's just.
I know, there are so many questions, I've even thought of if somebody,
Somebody to make the.
yeah,
I mean, I look at this, I wish there was only about 5
Yeah.
on here.
They're what?
I wish there was only about 5 things on here.
yes,
I'm not trying to take away, but
uh-huh,
it's
it's
like,
very broad.
yeah,
It's, we only narrowed a little bit of it. It's been
Oh.
brought for a while, if you read back.
no, I
the
know,
Historical
the
stuff,
addendums, yes,
how it's.
Yes,
yeah.
and it's been a work in progress, it's changed, the thing is, it can.
Actually, I don't know how you would divide it down, truthfully.
I think the one good thing about it, and sorry to get off task from the childcare, because the subject is the entire ordinance, that with the general term of economic development, we can be creative. I like that that's there, because that gives us more flexibility to be creative, like for the incentive program for the cities. But that's one good thing I like about that. But we don't fully utilize it. We need to. So,
Like with the workforce housing and stuff, I got.
yes,
the
you know,
line items.
that was changed and,
Cause then when we're not doing projects, it's just going in.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's just
Exactly.
building and building.
Uh-huh, right.
And
Is
we're-
that budget on your website?
The ordinance,
The ordinance with the line item budgetary allocations,
Uh-huh.
the things that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's in, under
under the.
230,
Right.
Economic enhancement is 232.
232, yeah. Okay, so do we want to explore the idea of investigating a consultant to help us? I don't know where we want to go with it. Or do we want to just, well, there's no harm in leaving things, the money's being put away.
We have the Condon Child Care or Early Learning Center, and we have the Arlington one. We just. I feel like it'd be better money not to do that and just sit down with them. And look at their needs and without in a court meeting where everybody is guarded on what they say. Truthfully.
That would be great, get both entities in the same.
Yes.
The county court, so everybody.
No, it can't be with the county court.
Who would it be?
Just that one,
It's
so
a,
that we could have the conversation and protect those funds and see where both entities need to go.
Yeah.
And then.
yeah, because we haven't heard much from Arlington about it, because they,
Another wrench to throw in it, I know there's a lot of talk about equal division of north and south. There's a really big difference between the two centers that I would ask everybody to kind of keep in mind as we move forward. Arlington, their preschool is hosted by their school,
uh-huh,
ours is hosted in-house.
Right.
Our asks are never gonna be the same, just something to keep in mind.
Well, yeah, and that's part of the challenge, is just trying
Yeah.
to figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, so.
We've been asking for like, kind of a stakeholders meeting for quite a while, just so that we can all get on the same page to work towards the same goal.
Like childcare stakeholders meeting for
Yeah,
the county.
Well, I mean, we did the Rocket. Were you guys involved with the Rocket? Did we submit all those?
yes.
I did go over it in
That's
the
fine.
public comment, but
Okay.
yeah, I just got it right before I got here.
Question from Arlington user has had those conversations as well, so I feel like. Having them together and then. Settling on something, because at this point now we're coming on 2 years of the
Right.
original conversations about this.
Well, okay.
Administration, a lot. that's
So-
Between those 2 years, but.
Maybe that has to do with your leadership committee, is taking some of these main things and hosting maybe community gatherings or something like that, or,
Mhm.
you know. Where, I don't know.
Yeah, well, okay, so next meeting is in Arlington, and Arlington Child Care is going to be there. Maybe we just let them have an opportunity for some input on this at that point. I know we're kicking it down the road, but this is an important one to get right. And, what do you think? I mean,
Well,
we're not gonna make a decision today anyway,
No,
we're just talking.
I mean, like I say, some of this too, I would like to have but I mean. I think it's important for the budget. Committee to do, I'd like to hear their input too, I mean, we're working at trying to fine tune this, I guess, is. For lack of a better word, but,
Mhm.
I mean. I mean, I don't see this gonna happen fairly quick, I mean, I see this.
It's because you have to have a hearing.
Yeah, I mean, I see this as kind of,
Hearings.
it's
Or
we're,
two readings.
we're discussing it and talking about it and working towards
Yeah,
trying to,
Of potential changes.
yeah. So but I don't know. See how long this is gonna take.
well, let's just have, I think we just put it on the agenda again. Arlington's going to be there. and just talk with them. We represent the entire county and find out what the other center thinks about it and have any input, and then maybe we'll gain the insight we need. We have some good dialogue that happened here, the potential of a consultant, your idea of, generating the interest quicker, a modification of spending some of it, saving some of it, all of the ideas, we just all need to be able to feel safe to talk about. Because the goal is to have a fund so that we can have a stable funding source for childcare, and remember that we have that common goal. What do you think?
I still wish that we would look further into the Oregon Community Foundation. I mean, just because that people could actually donate it to it and actually have their donations be a tax write-off, and they can't donate to the county.
Can they direct?
Can they donate to the
direct?
childcares now?
I was gonna say to the.
Just donate direct,
Yeah, if you're
Right.
supporting to use them.
yeah.
But I mean, just like, so, for instance, Condon every year sends out a fundraiser letter. And people send the money in, and then it goes into that endowment to help build it. We can't do that. We're gonna have it right off.
As an instant street to the entities. There was talk of, kind of getting more on the, I feel like in the most recent past, we've been setting out donor letters during our fundraising events, and recently we did talk about starting back up maybe an annual newsletter. I believe it was for our own, but that could also just be extended to be pay for the endowment, a fundraising letter to all businesses and community members to fundraise for the endowment. Yeah,
But then you guys would be doing it separate from Arlington, right? Are you talking about doing it together, like as a?
I mean, yeah, like that,
It doesn't matter.
discussion was.
It wouldn't matter then if it was just gonna go to the child care.
So that it's something that our two centers take care of, but we just submit this letter out to the community, and then any donations, could be sent to. Please send your donations right here, this PO box, and, again, more ideas.
Are you saying that the county can't accept those?
It's not a,
Never mind.
yeah, we're not a nonprofit that we can donate to, so it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, so we'll further discuss at the next meeting when Arlington's present, and then everybody do your research and come with your ideas how we move forward with this. I really don't think we're that far away.
Let's just make it happen.
Yeah.
Just make,
And
just
then-
make sure it's there.
It just is a matter of amending the ordinance. I just want to make sure that the stakeholders know what we're doing before we actually change the ordinance and make sure that we're doing it right with the best information. Thank you. All right, is there anything you wanted to talk about that we've been doing over the last couple weeks?
I've been sitting in on the pool committee. And I think we have another meeting when, Catherine? I think you have decided it. Maybe the 22nd, maybe the 15th. Anyway, they're looking at possible sites, possible designs, so. It's an interesting group.
There's a couple of things about that balance, excuse me, on the economic enhancement ordinance, that we have some projects out there, like the fiber project. If we do a match on the fiber, that ties right into economic development. The swimming pool is gonna come to us for a chunk of money. And if Arlington wants to build a new childcare center, there's some potential big asks that might come down that we need to be sure to preserve some funds for as well. So that's just something to put out there.
But we also have a couple big projects that might be moving in too, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot could happen
Mhm.
in 2 years.
Okay, I'm missing my mom's 85th birthday while we're sitting here, so sorry,
Okay.
I'm packing up.
Okay. What do you have?
I
We
don't
still
know.
have a quorum, so you're excused if you.
No, I'm not, I'm packing up.
Yeah, Dewey on the bypass, some of the, like with the, we're still waiting to hear some more updates on the wetland and what we're gonna do. I'm gonna try to set up a meeting with Dewey and Mr. Hosapple, hopefully the end of this month, or first part of next month. Yeah, in a Norcor or Korea meeting this Friday. The last Norcor meeting I went to, we had some actual ice protesting
Oh,
at Norcor, so. But anyway, I just want, the only reason I wanted to bring it up was hats off to the law enforcement, the Norcor staff. I mean, they're doing an awesome job with trying to deal with that. Anyway, that's,
okay.
yeah, and that's all I got. I just want to mention it.
All right. I went to the Eastern Oregon Counties Association meeting. And that was the beginning of the, Economic Development Summit, and, received a call from, the executive director from Korea who wants to come talk to us. They're gonna be on an upcoming agenda.
James.
James Williams.
September 30th.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure that the new commissioner understand, what Korea does. Been in talks with Waste Management and another potential development. Coming on the north end, working with them, City of Arlington. The grain lab, we are, we got the fiber.
It's going into.
Fiber's going in today. I talked to McKed, I talked to Jessica Meddy yesterday, who's the executive director at the meeting I was at, and she's is going to help us with, contact. With EDA, we're talking with them, but there's just, because of changes to the
You're at
federal
the bottom of the
government.
pile.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
got an email back today saying that still they're still working on.
Still in a holding pattern. Okay, all right. Everything's there. The building's virtually empty. We're pretty close. There was a lot of work getting it emptied out.
That's exciting. What's it gonna be used for?
We're gonna rent it.
Wonderful.
But we have to get a release from the federal government first. So, but we have buckets of grain that are available for the public. If anybody wants to feed their chickens with buckets of grain, you can contact the county and we can make arrangements for, that we can donate for,
Jordan did.
for pickup. He took what he wanted.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, yep, okay. That's my report. Okay, no further business. Meeting's adjourned.